Hey, how's it going out there, folks? Welcome back here to a Friday. The weekend is upon us. Hope everyone's doing all right out there. Getting close to the new year as well. About 10:28 a.m. That's California time here. December 27th, 2024 is the date. The latest earthquake activity here on the globe shows a little small earthquake into Southern California. Overnight, well, I should say early this morning, some larger activity here right into the middle of the Kamchatka Trench here. Pretty large earthquake and fairly deep as well into the area of the subduction zone. 6.8, 90 miles deep here into that region. Been watching the Kamchatka Trench here for quite a while for some mega quake potential. This may be where we're going to see our expected 8-pointer here soon. It's been, again, quite a while since we've seen any large-scale earthquake activity, and these deeper quakes obviously adding strain up there across the upper portion there of the subduction zone where most of the strain accumulates for those big mega quakes. So that earthquake striking about 4 o'clock my time here, so it's been about 6 hours or so. Let's see what else has happened here following that large event. I don't think we've seen a tsunami warning from that. Let me double check. Most of the time with that magnitude, it's not going to happen there. But let's see, they had it at a 6.7. Yeah, it doesn't look like there was anything from that. But if we get a mega quake on that major subduction zone area there, no doubt that could trigger a tsunami. But it is a fairly lengthy one. That 9-pointer that struck back in 2011 there, the big Japan earthquake, was a little bit further up north, further south here from today's activity along the Japan Trench. This area is much larger, and the accumulated slip rate here is quite high. And like I say, it's been a little while since we've seen any large-scale major rupture activity out here. Every once in a while we get some 4s and 5s. Yesterday, the notable quakes here was quite active here across the Izu Trench southward, and a little bit here following that earthquake as well. Looks like a 4.6. Got to remember, when one area of the plate here sees some movement, obviously it can strain areas nearby, but also put that pressure transfer on potentially other nearby faults or other nearby plate boundaries. Right now, it looks like it's mainly focused here on this area, western area of the Pacific Plate. Another 4.6 there in Japan about 9 o'clock this morning following that earthquake. So, things are still quite tense out here across the area, and that's where the primary focus is right now across that area for some larger movement. Looking at the earthquake 3D globe, you can see that there on the Earth here with the white rings indicating some newer earthquake activity. Typical clustering going on there across the Philippines area southward into the Indonesia Islands area. Quite the cluster going on there. New Zealand still seeing, looks like some 3s, maybe a pretty deep 4.2 there into the southern end of the Kermadec Trench. But either way, if you look on the map, a lot of this directly underneath North Island, New Zealand. And, of course, that's associated here with the Hikurangi subduction zone, another major player in producing some of the world's largest earthquakes. Let's go ahead and check out California, see what's going on out here in the last 24 hours. Northern California, pretty quiet here, aside from a 3.4 early this morning. Looks like that was just prior to that 6.8 there across the Pacific in the Kamchatka Trench. Let me double check here, see what we got. Nothing major on the seismos, so we'll continue to watch that. I don't think we're done yet here across Northern California. Things tend to shift around a little bit before they start to really pick up here. Hollister 2.1 coming in. A little bit of swarming here yesterday on the San Andreas Fault. Looks like nothing major going on there for now. Southern California got, that looks like an earthquake swarm down here near the Holtville, El Centro Imperial area. That is on the Imperial Fault. decent little swarm of earthquakes that has come to a halt as of 7:30 a.m. local time here, California, with a bunch of 2s and 1s, even a 3-pointer in there in this area. Trying to see if there's any type of geothermal activity down here. This just looks like some houses. Not seeing any type of fracking or natural gas or any type of oil wells out there. Looks like it's just primarily on the Imperial Fault, right, which is the plate boundary here between the North American and the Pacific Plate. No migration here to the north yet, but with this renewed activity down south, we'll have to watch for some migration up north. It tends to work its fashion from south to north up here most of the time. So keep an eye here on Southern California with that swarm of activity stirring up. There's a 1.7 there, Ontario. That's it looks like it's around that Fontana earthquake swarm region. Been an area of interest here in the last couple months in terms of some earthquake activity out there. Nothing big in Southern California for now. Handful of earthquakes up in Idaho. Rest of the region, the Great Basin area here, seeing some movement. Western Nevada, nothing big. Yellowstone National Park, nothing showing up there, but give a quick glance here, just double check. There is the 6.8 earthquake that struck this morning, showing up on the seismograph stations there quite nicely. It was about 4:47 my time, so technically Mountain time is 1 hour later, so that would put it at about 5:57 their local time at Yellowstone. That's a pretty awesome signature there from the large earthquake thousands of miles away here. Pretty crazy, but it just goes to show you that these seismograph stations there are working, and they're definitely sensitive to any ground vibrational movement. Localized earthquake there at the Yellowstone area, but really nothing of any major interest going on there at that super volcano in terms of any activity. Pretty quiet out there, locally anyway. Texas oil fields still getting hit. Really nothing major, but a look at the last 30 days of activity here gives us 442 earthquakes in the oil fields. That's a fairly minor to moderate number. I've seen this up in the 1,000 range before on a month time period. So things are a little quiet if you really think about it. Quiet out in Texas, in earthquake country. Who would have thought? Never used to be that way, but got a lot of pumping operations and oil fields out there. That's the future. A lot of earthquakes in the future there for that place. Let's see. Nothing going on for the rest of the eastern portion of the country. Pretty quiet. There's that one earthquake from last night in the mid-Atlantic ridge. The rest of the Atlantic looks pretty quiet. But look over here. Pretty active. 249 miles deep for that 5.2. That was just a couple hours prior to that 6.8. So things are working its way back and forth here. Deeper movement down here. Most of the time we'll add strain upstream here, but it looks as though as the Pacific Plate is moving here, other areas that are quite strained are picking up that adjustment with any little movement that's happening around the Pacific Plate. So that's why I'm saying it's pretty sensitive out here. But again, as you adjust one portion of the puzzle, it can have an adverse effect thousands of miles away. Not only, on the plate boundary itself, its own plate boundary, or it could apply pressure in other areas. A lot of times, deeper activity here will show up as major adjustment across the western area of the Philippines plate here, which is this little kind of a what kind of shape would that be? Kind of like a diamond, but I don't want to get into symbols and stuff like that. But this case, we're getting that notable earthquake activity here, just mainly on the western edge of the Pacific Plate, and that's tells me that things are not quite done yet out here. So we'll watch the Kamchatka. I mean, that's a decent earthquake, 6.8. but it's not a big earthquake. It's a deep, for this area anyway, it's a deep earthquake. Pretty large, but it can get much bigger out here. South America, 4.7 coming in. Looks like down there, 110 kilometers deep into the Peru-Chile Trench. Pretty active out there, it looks like. In the last 24 hours, I am going to lower that a little bit here because it looks like we are over the 24-hour threshold. That should be it. Man, look at that. Just when you look at it from the earthquake 3D globe here, it's gives quite a perspective of what's taking place out here, transpiring. And got to watch this area specifically. I don't see any migration of that pressure, being transferred here across the Taiwan area or the northern edge here of the Philippines plate, which needs to be watched, by the way. You remember this area right here, that subduction zone near Japan? Not the Japan Trench where that 9-pointer struck 2011, but this area right here got put underneath a megaquake warning here within the last couple months from the Japanese government there because of, the amount of time that has passed since the last major rupture and an elevated earthquake swarm that was happening right about here a couple months back. It's probably been a few months. Few, that's subjective, right? So probably a few months back. So all this obviously adding some further strain, I feel, across the area. So we'll watch that. Just a lot going on specifically in that region right now. And, of course, we're still expecting an 8-pointer out here somewhere around this globe, which could be anywhere. I could probably spin it much faster like that and then throw a dart, and then it could be anywhere. You just never know. Middle America Trench here, quite active. Quite a few threes and fours up and down the board. Nothing big going on. Rest of the globe out here. Let's see. A little bit of swarming was out there in that rift boundary out there, the Great Valley Rift across Ethiopia area. USGS showing some of those quakes out here, it looks like. Handful of them. Some fours from yesterday and one more from today in that rift boundary. Eventually that will be much bigger. Looks like a little bit of further movement overnight as well near the Owen fracture zone. So a lot going on as far as convection underneath this area. Down here across the Indian Ocean as well. A little bit more active out here than on any given day. Kind of on a broad scale activity event as well. Nothing big, but it's a broad area out here of rift movement. Quick glance here at the space weather activity. Fairly minimal since that couple M-flare activity events there 2 days ago. Still got the potential there of seeing some stronger flaring. I mean, there's a number of sunspots out here that are currently facing the Earth. And, a couple of these may be dynamic enough to produce some strong M-flares. I'm thinking these two up here. Can't really tell in terms of the magnetogram image. I mean, with the black and white image, it's a little hard to judge in terms of complexity out here, but the colored image here is still offline from last month. Hopefully they get that up and running. It's a little sad. But overall threat right now, 10% chance for X-flare. Nothing's really changed. I guess the M-flare has jumped up a little bit, 75% chance. C-flare at 99. And there's the aurora forecast out here, folks. Not a whole lot going on there in terms of aurora possibilities. Pretty quiet for now. As far as any major close approach asteroids here headed towards the planet, well, out of all of these being listed, looks like this 79-foot airplane-size asteroid, they're coming in within about 638,000 miles of the planet tomorrow. Nothing big, though. I mean, all these are fairly safe in terms of distance-wise. Storm Prediction Center, marginal risk for some severe weather down across portions of the south. That is primarily due to a 2% zone down there of tornado possibility, wind, and that looks like about it for today. Limited threat Tomorrow, a little bit larger threat down there as an enhanced area is added to the map with a huge 10% chance hatched area of seeing some large damaging tornadoes. Just what everyone wants to hear down there, right? It is that time of year where December normally sees the tornado activity limited here to the south, but of course it can happen anywhere there's an interaction of colder air mixing with the warmer environment out here. And that's a pretty large area for some tornado activity. Of course, that extends from the 5% and 2% as well. So tomorrow, a big-time weather threat out there in the trees. Wind as well, and so it looks like some decent hail threats as well tomorrow. So, man, got to be on guard there. It's that time of year. Let's go ahead and check out the numerical models out here. California seeing a little bit of rain. We didn't really pick up too much rain here across Sacramento Valley. Most of it was limited to the higher terrain, just the way that storm was coming in. That's going to scoot out of here, bring another slight weak one behind it as we head into Saturday and Saturday evening. Big time weather threat, though, folks, tomorrow. There's that activity stirring up there across the south. And, man, hopefully everyone listens to the warnings, and you just got to make sure you have some type of warning out there when it comes to the severe weather potential. California, next big system, I guess, coming in on Sunday, it looks like, a little bit there. After that, things start to change as we get into the new year. A lot of cold air coming down from the north here. Notice those blue lines indicating departure from average, and that's a lot of cold air dipping down, and it looks to be a permanent pattern here for a little bit. Hopefully not permanent, but at least a week and a half or so of high pressure ridging out in the west, cold air dipping down on the back side of this here, or on the front side I should say, because this is kind of working in this fashion clockwise. Cold air, high pressure out in the west. That's not good. Hopefully we get more rain, but either way, folks, we do have a lot of cold air dipping down. So if you're looking for wintertime, it is coming in the new year. Look at that. A lot of cold air out here across the east. We're talking about maybe 20-degree departure from average for this time of year. Pretty much split between that high pressure out here and then east of the Rockies, a lot of cold air. All right, seismograph stations out here all look pretty quiet, folks. For now, it's just kind of a waiting game here to see when that next big quake's going to happen out here. That one's it's a large quake, but it's deep here into this area. And of course, deeper activity underneath this region, right? It strains the area out here of the subduction zone. So keep an eye. It's definitely, I feel this one's overdue. Been chatting about this for a little bit, but again, it could be anywhere out here. A lot of places are overdue, so to speak, in terms of seeing some larger movement. That includes Southern California down there. That an 8-pointer could easily strike here. An 8.1, I believe, is the maximum magnitude for the southern branch here of the San Andreas Fault. So we got a little swarm going on south. We keep an eye on that and see what happens through the day today. Enjoy your Friday. We'll catch you guys back out here a little bit later on this evening, folks. Aside for that, I think I'm just going to stay home and relax a little. Taking a little break from the school that ended here about a week or so ago for the fall semester, and we'll fire it back up again in the January time frame for the spring semester. And yeah, that's about it, folks. Pretty quiet out here for now. Hold on a second. What do we got? As soon as I say that, look at that. That's a pretty nice signature on the Philippines station. Flatline that graph in a big fashion too. So looks like some type of bigger quake coming into the Philippines area right now. Let's see here. We'll wait and watch this come in, see what kind of magnitude that is. Just coming in right now. There's a 4.0 over here across west of Nepal up here along the plate boundary. But I'm looking at this signature here. Pretty nice event. It almost looks like a larger event here, depending on how large. A lot of times here, these large events can show up thousands of miles away from each other as a P wave hits, and then the secondary S wave, the surface wave, travels around the globe. It's hard to say. I don't see that showing up on Japan. Nothing showing up yet on the earthquake 3D globe here. But we'll wait a minute. I just kind of want to cover that just in case it's something big. We'll check out Hawaii real quick, see if we got anything major going on there. Forgot to check that. Still going up here in the inflation chart, looks like. Here's the last two short-lived eruptions there at the summit area of Kilauea Volcano. The volcano is still sitting at an orange and watch level. Here's our most recent filling up of the lava lake area. Quick glance here at the summit webcam. There's that area of interest where the most recent eruption has taken place there across that crater wall area at the Kilauea Volcano on the big island of Hawaii. Just a little bit of smoke and some volcanic gases there seeping through that little area. But looks like right now no eruption there. Little hot spot on the thermal image. Of course, this is what it looked like here a little bit ago. Oh, here's some older images too. Well, that's not recent. That's definitely prior to when it had filled up. This is a lot lower. That's kind of neat to go back and look at some of these older images and see how much it's filled up. As far as the lava lake goes up the summit area. Let's see, we got an update today so far. Doesn't look like it. 26. Yeah, nothing going on yet. All right, there it is. Okay, so that earthquake there on the Philippines station is a 5.6 earthquake showing up right there on the green flag. So things are still quite active out here, folks. Just be on guard. A whole lot happening out there in that area. Nothing showing up on the USGS map, but it is a legit earthquake. EMSC is reporting it, and it's obviously there in plain view. All right, we'll watch this and, of course, be sitting off here on the side a little bit. If anything major happens out here, we'll jump on and get some updates. And have a good day. We'll catch you guys back out here a little bit later on.